Hello, I'm Refashionista Sheri, and I thought today I would share with you some of the incredibly easy peasy DIY artsy fartsy decor ideas that I have come up with and made. And of course, Skelly is there wandering around in the background, as always, the lovely and talented Skelly. Anyway, let's take a look at my living room first. And here we are in my little living room. And I think, no, let's start with this one here. This I actually made years and years and years ago, and it is simply a curtain. And that beside it there and the matching one over there, those are pillowcases. So let's go make those. Let's see how I made those right now. To create your frame, of course, you need 4 pieces of wood, and you can use scrap wood. You can get these lovely thin pieces of wood from your local home store, and they'll even cut it to size for you. Plus, of course, you need some wood screws, and you're just going to screw it all together. Make sure the screws are long enough to go all the way through one piece of wood to the other, and then make sure you have all 4 corners screwed together. Once you have that, then you can go ahead and grab your cool vintage curtain or vintage fabric, and I always find that it helps if it's a bit damp, and then you simply stretch it around your wood frame, and of course grab your staple gun and staple it in place, and you're done. I used the exact same technique to create these beautiful works of art from the front and the back of a thrifted vintage pillowcase. And again, how super duper simple was that? And it's totally stood the test of time because these were also made way back in 2012. So how cool was that? All you need is some cool pillowcases or a funky vintage curtain, and there you go. Make yourself some art. Over here, of course, there is Lord Jack the Ripper, who sadly went over the Rainbow Bridge last year, and Mr. Skelly there. Look at him, how handsome. And I think we should learn how I made these again years and years and years ago. And this tutorial has been on my blog for so long, and I always get different comments on it. Some saying how awesome my paper mache masks are, and others absolutely despising them. So you let me know what you think, because I love these so much, and it is totally free to make these. And clearly you don't need to have a lot of talent either, because I mean, look what I did. And they last forever. Like that was Jack there when he was a puppy, and we had him for 14 years before he crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And this was my kiddo when she was just a baby, even though I believe I made these when I was actually pregnant. But you know what? Let's get the show on the road. Let's just make them. To create your very own creepy caricatures, all you need are some old newspapers or flyers, tape, plus a box for each person that you're making a caricature for. Keep in mind, the bigger the boxes, the bigger your finished heads will be. So your first step is to just press in the corners of the boxes and wrap and tape crumpled up and twisted newspapers or flyers around the boxes to create an ovalish head shape. Continue adding paper till the box front and sides are completely covered, and then ball up another piece of paper and tape it right into the center of the box head. This will eventually be the nose, so try to make it about the same size as your caricature victim is going to be. Next, it's time to create our papier mâché and get a little bit messy. So for this part, you need a bowl, flour, and water, and of course to chop your remaining newspapers and flyers into long, equal-ish strips. Right now it's time to get quite messy and gooey, and you want to put your bowl into your sink and add 2 parts warm water to 1.5 parts of flour. This is just my really basic paper mâché recipe. You can make it however the heck you want to, but I find this gives me the perfect consistency. All right, next, cover up your work area because it does get very, very messy and sticky from now on in. All right, now you want to grab one of your strips, dip it into the paper mache and then slide it between your index and middle fingers to get rid of the excess, and then just smooth it onto your head. You want to completely cover each of your heads with 2 to 3 to 4 layers of gooey newspaper, and then unleash your own creativity. Create eyeballs, a nose, eyes, cheeks, lips, mouth, ears, whatever accessories or any sort of details you want. The paper is so lovely and gooey and moldable. You can work with it just like it's clay and make it as realistic or as cartoony as you want. Next, you want to grab some tissue paper, or if you have an old phone book lying around, those pages are perfect as well, and gently apply a top layer of the thin tissue paper to your heads using the rest of your paper mache mixture. Place your heads onto a cookie sheet and then bake them on your oven's very lowest setting for about 20 to 30 minutes, making sure that you check them every 5 to 10 minutes and pull them out if they start getting browned, and definitely don't let them burn. This is just a really, really quick way to dry the heads out, and once they're all cooled off, they will be super hard, but they will look like something out of a horror movie for sure. Okay, we can now move on to the final step. As long as your heads are thoroughly dry, you can leave them overnight, and then for sure they're going to be totally dry, especially after being in the sauna of the oven and drying overnight. Okay, so next you need some paints, and give everybody a base coat with their basic skin or fur colors, and then add on whatever features you want. Go crazy with facial traits, because more detail, of course, equals more realism. Then you can go ahead and place them outside and give them a really good spray with any kind of sprudelac, and I'm forgetting the English, spray varnish, there we go, or any kind of clear coat. And this just really helps to protect them and make them last a really long time, as seen with mine. I dust them every week and everything still looks just the same as the day that I made them. For some extra added realism, you can add actual accessories and items that your caricature victims actually owned, like earrings or fake eyelashes, glasses, a hat. It just looks super, super cool. Now, to hang them up, you can simply cut a small slit out of the back of the box and then, hang them up on a nail. But I gave my little artiste a blank canvas and she went to town on that. And then I simply grabbed my hot glue gun, glued them onto the canvas, and once again, these have lasted since 2012. They have not needed any repairing, and they look as great as the day that I made them. Even if they are kind of creepy, I still think they're absolutely cool. And as you can see, these have definitely lasted for well over a decade, including international and local city moves. So go ahead, make them for yourself, for your family, for gifts. You saw how easy it is. And now let's see. Hello, Mr. Man. Let's go upstairs and I can show you some other cool trash art you can make. Look at that. This was, I believe, my second attempt at doing some woven wall art. So you know what? Let's go check out that video, because that was one of the first videos I shared on my channel. Look at young Sheri there, over a decade younger than I am now, and playing with sticks and rags. So to create this, clearly I grabbed a stick, a bunch of scrap fabric cut into strips, my glue gun, and some tape. And I distinctly remember knotting all of these pieces and lengths of scrap fabric together to create a Scrappy fabric ball, and then winding it all up. This is really, really important, actually. Now, next, I took some of those long lengths and looped and knotted them around a piece of my stick, and that was simply to create the one side of my loom. I think that's what I was doing. Right, yes. And then I taped that down so it would not move. And you can kind of get the idea that I'm going to then do something similar to the other end with my glue gun because I didn't want to have to faff around knotting. I just stuck these down and rolled it up to make it extra sturdy. And there, now you can have a really good idea of how I created kind of a loom-ish weaving thing here without any experience. And once that was all done, I simply grabbed my ball of knotted up scraps and tied it around one end of my stick. And then the idea was to simply weave that yarn ball in and out, as you can see there, my lovely hand motions. And isn't it interesting? I didn't have my thumb tattoos. It's that old. I did not have my thumb tattoos yet. But you see how simple this really, really was. The only thing is I didn't really pay attention when I was weaving, and that's why it came out in this really, really awkward shape, because I was kind of tightening and pulling as I was weaving. But fear not, fear not. I simply added some adorable felt eyes and a scrappy beak and made it into an adorable little owl, and of course added that little string at the top to hang it up. And right next to that, in the tiny little hallway up here, is my epically awesome Refashionista pink Scrappy fabric art. And I am particularly proud of this one because it was very, very simple to make, and the results are just so gorgeous. So here's how I did it. So this was trash in 2019, but the glass wasn't broken, so I knew I could make it into something amazing. So I brought it home, took it apart, painted the frame a lovely Refashionista pink, then grabbed some matching fabric from my stash, stitched that together in the size that would actually fit over top of that existing poster board. Then I glued it to the poster board, of course, making sure that all of the edges wrapped around nicely, and popped it back in the frame, and now I have a gorgeous piece of Refashionista art. And moving right along to my bedroom door here is my very first attempt at some scrappy fabric art, and of course Mr. Skelly has joined us once again, so let's go make this. And of course, I'm redoing the voiceover for this because, once again, 2015 sound compared to 2025 sound, there's a massive difference. So what you need here are some scrappy strips, a stick, and your scissors, and maybe some hand sewing gear, but maybe not. So first, you just want to arrange all of your scrappy strips in the order that you would like them to be on your cool scrappy wall hanging. Very, very easy. Next, just attach them. I did a mixture for mine to show you here. This one, I simply hand stitched it on. The next one, I just stuck the stick through the crochet loops there. The next one, I did kind of a little slip knot where you loop the fabric around and then shove the ends through. And the final one, I just basically did a double knot to secure it. Once you have all of them on and you love how they look, then space them however the heck you want. Put them tight together, put them looser, and then add your little ribbon tie. And the very, very last step, if you want, is to trim up and even up the bottoms. I hope you enjoyed my little revisit of some of my delightful DIY decor items, and absolutely let me know if you want me to share how I created here my gorgeous wingback chair and footstool recovering. And there's Mr. Skelly, of course, wandering again. I have so many things I have made in my house from upcycled and recycled and thrifted materials, so I would love to share them with you all. If you would love to see them, just let me know. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.